Dappervolk Beta's fourth and final town, AVR Cove, was teased on October 2nd in the official Dappervolk Discord as well as Dappervolk's status feed, then dropped after some maintenance 2 days later on October 4th. You know what else was dropped? Beta's conclusion date. It's ending at 11:59 p.m. on October 25th. That's really soon. Like, startlingly soon. Which means I've got to get this tutorial up ASAP if anyone's going to get any mileage out of it before then. So I'm not going to fluff up this intro any more than need be. Let's jump straight into it. I feel like the best way to describe Starry Night's gameplay is to call it a typing game with rhythm game elements that quickly turns into a mashing game with I don't know what's happening anymore, but I don't want this ride to end elements. The objective is to dim the light bulbs that appear on screen by drawing or typing out an approximation of the symbols that hover above them, thereby delaying the inevitability of light pollution. Sorry, Astra. The longer you play, the faster the light bulbs move and the more time-consuming and challenging it is to bang out the symbols overhead. You have 6 lives, and each time a bulb makes its way over to the on-screen character before you can dim it, you lose one. Lose them all, and you get it. So I mentioned that you have the option of drawing or typing. Let me elaborate on that a bit before we dive too deep, because some of my advice is entirely dependent on which way you decide to play. Before a game begins, you have to commit and choose between the two. It's not something you can switch up on the fly. That would probably be super exploitable. In drawing mode, you can use your mouse, touchpad, touch screen, or any kind of compatible drawing tablet. My personal preferences are the latter two, partly because I like having an excuse to use them for a game, but mostly because I've always felt like mice and touchpads aren't the best in the world for anything that requires precision. The gap between my latest scores after attempting the minigame with my touchpad versus my touch screen probably speaks for itself. But regardless of my own thoughts on the matter, make sure you pick whichever works best for you and your wrist. The only recommendation I have for drawing mode specifically is not to spend more time on any one symbol than necessary. What do I mean by that exactly? Well, a short line accomplishes the same thing as a longer line in a fraction of the time, like so. For typing mode, WASD or your arrow keys are all legal and interchangeable, and I'd say that it's a lot heavier on the muscle memory than drawing mode because unlike drawing mode, which doesn't seem to care where your shape begins or ends, each symbol is mapped to a specific order of keys. Just for the sake of having an example, if you wanted to make a circle, you'd need to type WASD, or alternatively, up, left, down, right in that exact sequence. You can't accomplish the same thing by typing WDSA or up, right, down, left. So I had to more or less reprogram my hand to move the way the game wanted it to as opposed to the way it naturally wanted to, which was clockwise for some reason. I can't really tell you why it had a preference in the first place. It was just a hurdle I encountered that I'm sure others will as well. So I thought it was worth bringing up. If you're having trouble orienting yourself because of the key order, 10 minutes or so worth of practice should yield results. Now let's move on to some more generally applicable tips across playstyles. It's not good to focus too hard on any given symbol at a time, especially late into your game. Like, when there's a bunch of circles, horizontal lines, and zigzags on screen at the same time and they're all barreling towards the middle, it's much better to draw or type one of each than frantically drawing or typing a bunch of circles in a row, because correctly drawing or typing any on-screen symbol effectively stuns every bulb they're attached to for an entire second. Prioritizing mass stunning as opposed to taking the bulbs one at a time will protect your extremely limited supply of lives way more effectively, as well as ensure that your rounds last that much longer, because that's genuinely half the battle. That being said, if you can quickly determine the most common symbol on screen at any given moment, well, first and foremost, I gotta give credit where credit is due. You have awesome snap observational skills. Secondly, it's fine to give that most common symbol brief precedence. Just don't forget about the other guys is all. Next, always bear in mind that the order in which you draw or type your symbols doesn't matter to the bulbs. If a bulb has a sequence of a circle, a vertical line, and another circle hovering above it, it looks like a face. You don't need to make a circle first. A line is a perfectly valid as well as faster way to get it stunned. And lastly, maybe even most importantly, early on in your rounds when the light bulbs are moving like molasses and there aren't very many on screen, conserve your stamina by typing or drawing slowly as well. Only utilize your keys and strokes when there are a bunch of them, because you can afford to. It's not like you're getting any bonus points for being a speed demon. In the same vein, if you find yourself scoring worse and worse as time goes on, you might just be getting tired. For as fun and cool as Starry Night is, it's an intense game that requires a whole lot of your attention and movement with no lapses. Be sure to take breaks between rounds so you don't exhaust all of your energy reserves, or even worse, hurt yourself. Seriously, this is coming from someone with carpal tunnel. I know what I'm talking about. Please take care. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the subject of Starry Night. Let me know if anything I said helps, or if there was something vital to high scoring that I completely neglected to mention. The comments are always open. Sorry in advance if this video comes across as kind of rushed. I still took steps to ensure that it would have a certain level of quality, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't need to cut a few corners. I just really wanted to get it up for those of you who wanted it. Beta's only going to be live for another couple of weeks after all. Speaking of beta only being live for another couple of weeks, this is usually the part of the video where I tell people to go sign up while they still can. But unfortunately, the last sign-up window took place before I could have possibly hoped to get this uploaded. So instead, I'm going to inform/remind you all that you can still support Dappervolk and score yourself some cool limited-time goodies without being directly involved in the beta test itself. 2 beta support bundles have been live and available for purchase as of the second month of beta, and they'll be staying available until its conclusion at 11:59 p.m. PDT on October 25th. Both bundles include codes for 1 hatching item and 3 matching clothing items and cost $10 US each. That's $20 US total if you're looking to buy both. And speaking as a person who needs to budget every aspect of their life pretty intensely, I think they're very fairly priced for what you're getting out of them. So absolutely go and grab them before they're gone if you're interested and able. For additional clarification, you do not need a Dappervolk account to purchase these beta support bundles. The contents themselves are attached to codes that you can save and redeem through your future official launch account. The links to purchase both can be found on the Dappervolk website itself, but for ease of access, I'm including them in the description of this video alongside all of the other relevant Dappervolk links I always do. As always, thanks so much for watching, and for putting up with my nasally sick voice. Stay tuned for that End of Dappervolk beta review I promised a while back. I'm also planning an End of Dappervolk beta stream. It should be a really fun time, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to subscribe to this account so you'll be alerted when I announce the date, as well as follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/hoodietalks. Thanks again, and see you soon!